never waver from that, because he didn't think there was a place in business for a negative attitude. And because he knew that that attitude, and knows, I should not say this in past tense because he's still a great leader, he knows that that negative attitude can be contagious. So he really, really is a believer in the positive attitude. He believed that a leader should create a climate where people's worth was determined by their own willingness, not because they were anointed or appointed to do something, but that their worth was valued because of their own willingness to achieve and learn new skills and grab onto new responsibilities. And he really, really commended employees for doing that, or his followers for doing that, and that's how he gained their buy-in and continued to motivate them. I love this aspect of what Colin Powell believed in, and I pulled this from a slideshow that I found on his leadership, a presentation that he did on leadership on slideshare.net. If you look for Colin Powell's leadership presentation, you would find this. But to quote him, he said that or paraphrase him, that theories of management don't really matter. And titles mean absolutely nothing, because a lot of times people have titles because they're anointed and appointed and been handed them on a silver platter. But endeavors succeed or fail by the people that are involved, and not because of some theory or not because of some title. And I found that to be very inspiring myself in my own career. And so I would leave the timeline talking about Steve Jobs, because this is the one that's closest to me in his death. And I've looked at his graduation commencement speech and other works that he did. But you know that Steve Jobs was an unconventional leader. And I'm here to say you have to be an unconventional leader today, because the customer and the human nature is a lot different than it was perhaps back in George Patton's day, when the authoritarian leadership style may have been more appropriate. But Steve Jobs' management style was not ordinary was not as ordinary as that. He was a perfectionist, and he inspired others to be the same. He always aspired to position his business and his products at the forefront of the industry, and always looking and setting new trends. He was a believer in innovation, and he worked towards always setting new trends in the area of technology, of course. Jobs was a total genius in his ability to clear his vision and to motivate others to see his vision, and to bring his staff and investors and customers along the way through the journey to make him successful as he was. He was just really, really a genius at doing that. He believed that two things that leaders should have is persistency and innovation. He was a very persistent person, and he exemplified this, of course, through his work with Apple. He never gave up. He actually left Apple and came back to it later, but he never gave up. He believed you have to face setbacks head on, ready and prepared whenever they come. He said that setbacks, to quote him, is a part of life. Whether you're successful or not often depends upon your ability not to give up. It's all the more important to display that attribute, he says, especially if you want to develop an organization or a team that has a never say die philosophy. So in order to build that teamwork, he believed that persistency was critical, and to show them and to model to them that you never give up. He was a very innovative leader. Even today, the Apple products are flourishing, and of course the iPad, the iPod, and all those products that Macintosh, that Apple has put out. He said that, to quote him, if you want to maintain your leadership, you have to be the one who's constantly coming up with new ideas, new incentives, all in a spirit of moving your organization vision and mission forward. In whatever industry you're in, it doesn't matter if it's education or technology, your constant research to improve and to keep up with the changing time, the changing customer, the changing economy is critical to be innovative in those ways. And that constant motivation, he says, in that alignment with your mission will keep you ahead of the game and ahead of the pack and keep your team always working for a common goal. And that information and those quotes from Steve Jobs came from leadershipwithyou.com on a website called Steve Jobs Leadership. In conclusion, today's leaders in education, if I can bring us to the educational world now, absolutely have to have these same characteristics in order to run successful schools. But moreover, the reason for all this is so that the instructional leader can build the capacity of the school and have the ability to provide those successful opportunities for young people. We have lessons to learn from everybody, from the veteran teachers and from the new teachers. The leader has to be that person who inspires all of the staff. Sometimes there's a need to make the hard decisions without much input at all from your staff and through professional learning teams or through your school leadership teams. Sometimes you have to make that hard decisions as a school leader, but you always build those relationships and always have a shared vision. You see, without a shared vision, the system will fail because the vision prepares us for the changing customer, and that's the student. The customer is changing every semester, every year. And without a vision that prepares for that emerging and changing customer, the business of education will not be successful. Unsuccessful businesses are unsuccessful because of poor management, because they're title driven. Folks just want a title. They want to be famous for something. They're money hungry, and they lack the leadership and the passion and the motivation, and they lack the vision. And so I think that's why these influential leaders have how they've impacted leadership today, because those things run through the veins of those leaders, and those same characteristics must indeed run through the veins of today's leaders. Thank you.